Hello, I'm Andy Edwards and we're about to talk with Steve Cram, a world record holder for the mile, world champion indeed at 1500 metres, but these days famous as a commentator whose voice is heard all over the world. Steve, what's it like preparing in race week for the Virgin London Marathon as a commentator?
Well, the marathon is a little bit different to being at the Olympics, World Championships or a Grand Prix meeting in the sense that, well, certainly London is a once-in-a-year event. So there's a lot of information to kind of squeeze into that period that you're going to be commentating. So it really is about preparing for a good few days, being here, talking to athletes. You haven't seen them for quite a while. It's not as always, I was commentating on them last week in a track meet because marathon runners only run once or twice a year. So it's a different type of preparation. Plus the event itself is a long one.
You're part of a commentary team. Are you concentrating on the elite and are others doing, should we say, the fun runners, the charity runners?
Our coverage is we've pretty much got 6 hours of coverage these days and the highlights programme afterwards. So we try and cover the whole flavour of the event from the front of the field to what's going on elsewhere and the various stories, whether it's elite athletes or whether it's the charity runners or people who are making our programme what I think people like to watch. It's what makes the marathons like this so popular.
How does the adrenaline you get as a commentator compare with when you were running on the track, breaking world records, winning world titles?
Different events have a different style of commentary attached to them, and the marathon is a bit different to a very fast-paced track race where you do get that real sense of adrenaline, if you like. 100-metre final, you're waiting for the gun to go, a bit like an athlete would be, and then it all gets poured out quite quickly. Whereas for the marathon, as I said, it's almost a more rewarding experience because I love the story of the race unfolding and actually trying to interpret what you're seeing in front of you. And I think that's why being an athlete, a former athlete, really helps. You're just watching for little nuances of people's style, of looks on their face, what they've gone through the last mile in, how the tactics of the race are starting to unfold.
And the sights of London, iconic sights, does that also make it special for you as a commentator? Having
great landmarks en route is really important, and that's why whether it's London or it's New York or Berlin or whatever, people expect to see the big sites, if you like. And people come from all over the world to be able to run past those sites here and to be able to turn at Buckingham Palace and run up the mile like everybody else has done. And when you come off air, do you review your performance in a way? I'm sure when you were running track, you thought, well, I really stuck it to them that time, or could have done better. I certainly have never sat and gone through 6 hours of commentary. I think you're aware when you've got things a little bit wrong, and I will sometimes go back and look at something to have a look at maybe why or that happened, and we will have a little bit of analysis afterwards as a team, production and the commentary team, if a bit of technology didn't work very well or a story we were trying to tell or we got the balance wrong between the men's and the women's race. So I think we tend to look at it more editorially rather than individual little performances, if you like. But I'm not as tired as when I run a marathon, but it's quite you're concentrating a lot for a long period of time. And the odd thing here is, unlike the runners, we go back and do it again about 3 hours later when we do the highlights programme. Well, it's clear you need a balance of endurance and speed, just as you did on the track. Thanks very much, Steve. Cheers, Andy.